Welcome to The Rooted Warriors, the podcast where the bonds of sisterhood are not just celebrated, but explored through laughter, tears, and everything in between. Join me and my two dearest friends as we dive deep into the roots of our own friendships, sharing stories and challenges. Whether you're looking for inspiration, advice, or just a good story, we're here to bring a piece of our sisterhood right into your life.
All right, my real ones, let's talk about it. Fake news, fake boobs, fake friends. Seems like everything these days is a little too enhanced to be trusted. The headlines are as artificial as a spray tan in a thunderstorm. Some friends are about as real as a knockoff designer bag. And let's be honest, some other things are standing way too perky to be natural. Today, we're strapping in and pushing up the truth because whether it's the media, your inner circle, or some gravity-defying enhancements, not everything that holds up is built to last. So grab your X-ray vision because we're calling out the knockoffs, the fair weather fakers, and the stories that need a little support.
Good evening, ladies.
Oh,
hello,
hello.
hello, hello.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one.
This is going to be a fun one.
It's going to get real.
Oh, man.
Dang it. But before that,
Yeah.
how's everybody's week?
Just breathe. It's all breathe.
I slept 12 hours last night.
Oh my God.
Your
That's
brother,
a dream.
Your brother let me. I was like, why didn't you wake me up? And he was like, heck no.
He was like, you were sleeping like such a beautiful angel.
He was like, girl, get some rest because I've been a grump. It's more like it. No, I've been strapped a little thin. So yeah.
You've been driving him a little crazy or what?
I think maybe because we're doing so much right now. We're so excited and happy about it. It still is taxing in a way where I'm not good upside down sleep. Are you? Mm-hmm. I can't. I have my sleep bank is like, you need 7 or 8 hours. And if you only get 6, you owe me an hour. You know what I mean? Like I build it up and after a while it's like, okay, I need a second. I got to catch up. So he knows me well enough to just kind of say, all right, you're overdrawn in that sleep bank by about 4 hours. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to
set that clock back.
Yeah, that's funny.
Set your jump start back.
I love that.
Yeah.
What about your week?
It's been great. It's been exciting. Had a lot going on, doing a new project. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of work and in a really short time. Typical Mo. But I want to get it done, get it over, let my son do his thing. So yeah.
That's exciting.
What about you, sister?
You know what? I'm waiting for a baby to come.
Oh,
so soon too.
Oh my gosh.
So soon.
How was her last appointment?
It was good. So 36 weeks. So if she went into labor anytime, they would not stop it.
Okay.
So and that's good news. She's got to make it to her baby shower.
I know, right? Which, by the way, we have a little while. It's like 10 days away or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah. So
It's a little scary.
That's exciting. And I'm excited about this new journey and just to watch her learn to be a mother and kind of what unfolds there.
She's got to be so excited.
I think she's more
Ready
to not be pregnant anymore.
Right.
It's such a foreign thing, to have a human growing inside of your body,
especially the first time.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll all pan out in the end.
How's Mima handling it?
I want the best for my daughter. So when she says I'm done being pregnant, I'm like, I'm done too. Like, I just want her to be better. Right. And to feel good about herself. And, she can't wait to meet him. And, it reminds me of being pregnant and all the wonder, you know what I mean? So I'm excited for her. It's scary. It's different than, watching my grandbabies being born, by my daughter-in-laws, not any less, but I think it will be very different when it's my own daughter. When you can sit and feel your children's pain, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're yours. So that's how I feel like it's just going to be very, very different.
Has she picked out a name? Has she picked out a name?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to call him?
His name is Maximus.
Oh, Max.
I love it.
That's a great
Little
name.
Maxie Poo. So Jack's family calls him Maximus Prime.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I love that.
When he becomes a football player or a sports person, that's exactly what the prime.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that's about it.
That's awesome.
Just
That's a lot.
sewing my little heart away, and I have a little reprieve. Closed my coffee shop this week, so it was a. Actually, I don't feel like I've actually had time to process it because so many things have kind of followed it. So I really haven't really had a moment. It was a very quick, unexpected.
And great, though, the way it worked.
And such a blessing for me. I'm just ecstatic and sad, at the same time.
And you should be allowed to mourn it.
Yeah, I can't wait until I have a second, to do that.
You poured so much money, time.
It's emotion,
love.
too. Yeah.
This was your vision you've been talking about this for 7 years.
Yeah.
So it was your vision for a long time. You poured your heart and soul into it. So, you need to be allowed to mourn that.
Yeah.
And I feel like in some ways that's been stolen from you.
It has. And it's been, instead I've had a lot of, stress and, worry behind it where, I was trying to get rid of it to not have those things anymore, But it is what it is. I'm very grateful. I feel very blessed, and I'm excited about, a new journey. I'm excited to be able to, really dive into and pay attention to the business that I have that, that I haven't been able to pay attention to. Gives me more time with my dad.
Do you find you get to sleep in a little bit now?
It's very nice. It is very nice. I kind of wander around my house the last couple mornings going, oh my God, what do I do? Oh, wait, I can make myself coffee.
Well, there's a concept.
And then it'll give me freed up time for Maddie and for Max. And yeah. So,
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good
But it's
one.
emotional, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You have
there's
a bunch of emotions.
A lot of loss, and not just the loss of a business.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Stemmed from a dream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm excited about this subject today, Miss Gina.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about it. And when you were reading it, the fake news, fake friends, and fake boobs, the whole time I was thinking about the Super Bowl on Sunday because we watched it, because we heard that Elon Musk had paid like $40 million to do like 5 commercials that was going to talk about like everything that's been going on.
Doge it out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so we watched half of the Super Bowl.
We did too.
Until we realized that it was fake news.
100%.
Yep.
And then it got us. And then we felt like, it got us. Right? Yeah. So that's funny. There's so much fake news everywhere, and it's these days you're kind of navigating and serving in and out of what's real and what's fake. And, one of our last episodes, we talked about social media and what's real and what's fake and what we learn to expect and what our idea of life should be. And it's just so unrealistic.
100%.
Right? We finished Max's nursery today and Maddie was filming it. And I was like, it's just so cute in here. And you should make a little like TikTok of it. When I said it, she brought in another TikTok and she was like, look at this room. And I'm like, it's not even real. Like, that's not real.
But you have this AI real. Generated.
Yeah.
TikTok.
None of this is real. Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's so hard to differentiate. What do you call that word? To
differentiate.
Thank you. She's smart. That's why she's a smart one.
Just the word one.
The difference between what our reality looks like, and it's okay. Like, it's okay that this is what our lives look like. They're not supposed to look like the AI generated life, right?
How do people decipher what is fake news and what isn't? Because, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. There's still fake news in your own media that you watch all the time. So whether you're a Fox guy or a CNN guy, there's going to be fake news within those newses because that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So how do you decipher and how do you navigate that? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, now I know that TikTok is not always right.
Exactly, right.
Right. I can't even get it anymore because I got a new phone and none of my stuff transferred, so I can't get TikTok anymore.
Oh.
I mean, you can't tell. Like, you can't. A funny thing is, I was watching like a quick reel or something while Maddie was, we were waiting for Maddie's doctor's appointment. And it was like, what is the show, like America's Got Talent or something, where there's all the judges, but the one judge is mean?
Yeah,
it's American Idol.
Okay. And so this woman from the reel that I saw comes out and she's just this very, very, very large, look like 600-pound woman. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you can't tell, but then she shrieks down to this little person, and then she goes up into a mother and she's holding a baby, and the baby falls and it's a boy on the ground. And then she goes to pick him up, and then she's the grandma. And this is all AI generated, that they're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. But it was literally nothing. It wasn't nobody. It was an AI show.
So they designed it through AI and they were still competing with that? Yeah. Like, that's considered an art of some sort because you can give a good AI prompt.
Yeah.
It's not an art.
Interesting.
Baffled, right?
Yeah.
But it's fake.
Bring on the singers.
It's just so fake. And like, our celebrities are fake. Like,
are they even really the same person?
It's whatever, I guess, right? Your garden grows according to how we water it and how we, right? Like, what's real and like what's fake, right?
And I think sometimes our perception of what is real sometimes gets jaded by what we personally believe. Right.
Yeah.
Like I have to catch myself sometimes. Like, I'll be like, oh yeah, like this is absolute fact. And then I'm like, is it because I want it to be fact? Because I think I do.
Absolute are you?
And so like I'll check certain things and I'll be like, oh, that wasn't actually how that went down, Right. So, I want us to be careful thinking that only one or two sources are the real news because, at the end of the day, you don't really know. And we just have to decipher it ourselves. So it's kind of tough.
So I would say, honestly, for us, anything that's a talking head is full of crap most of the time.
Word.
If they didn't do their own investigation and their own research and that type of stuff, and they're just up there repeating what they wanted them to, then they're not a real reporter.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think like the whistleblowers, those are the people that are really like trying to find out the truth. And then there's certain people to follow on social media that kind of focus on the truth. But anything that's news related is like,
all fake.
It's a shot in the dark, man.
It really is.
Some of the stuff they say is kind of true, but they've twisted it out of perspective. Like
I saw this one. I swear this is like the beginning of Trump just first running again for his second. And I had watched it saying fake news is everywhere. And so it was a reel, and it was a broadcast company. So CBS, NBC, all of them. And they had the same script.
Yeah.
Everywhere, all around our country.
Saying
they were
the
saying the
things.
same
like
exact,
30 in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true. Those are talking points, and they share the same talking points, and they're trying to get the same,
like verbatim.
Exactly. They could say it at the same time, and they were all saying it at the same time.
But to be fair, if you listen, because I mean, I listen to Fox a lot because Bob always has Fox on. And obviously I agree with a lot of what Fox is saying. Obviously, I'm not going to deny that. But that being said, a lot of their talking heads say the same shit over and over and over again.
There's an agenda.
All of them have an agenda.
Right.
And that's my point is I would like to see us stop that and figure out a way to find the real sources.
They should all be sued.
They're controlled opposition.
They're controlling us. All of them are controlling us.
And just think about the people who are not as worldly, right? That
get lost in CBS.
Lost in how scared that they could possibly be.
Yeah. And they control us by the things that they know control us. So like, If you're looking at Fox, they know that we're controlled by abortion. We're, against abortion. So they control us with that. They control us with certain things.
That's controlled opposition.
It is. So, and same thing with like CNN and ones like that. They control them with right now the DEI hires. That's a big talking point for them right now. So they know that it's going to get certain people riled up.
Right.
And that's how they control us and put us against one another. And we're right back to being against one another. And one side will blame the other side. But the reality is the big heads, they're all together. They're all buddies.
But they're also involved in a corruption.
It's all about money.
They want you to look that way and believe this, because if you believe this, then they're guilty.
Both sides are guilty of this.
So bad.
Yes.
They were like, you should investigate any Democrat who has a large bank account and is against what Trump and like RFK are doing, right? But then someone else came up and said, and Republican. And we were like, yes, and Republican. It doesn't matter.
Right. It does
if you're
not matter.
lying, you're lying.
Yeah.
I don't care what political party you're under.
And, like I've always been very careful with the Elon thing because, a lot of super strong conservatives are really about Elon. I have never been a huge Elon fan, and I would be lying here if I said that I was. So I'm always a little worried with him on what is his real agenda, right?
Right.
So do I think everything he's doing is great? No. Do I think a lot of it's great? Yes.
Heck yeah.
So, but that being said, like it's up to me to figure it out with a bunch of shit that's being thrown at me from all angles. So I think it's just so hard for people to really figure things out anymore and really think for themselves because the media thinks for us.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in every form on our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok. I mean, on and on and on. I can't even look at the news anymore. Like when I look at the Apple News one, it is all super liberal.
So bad.
And then if I look at the Fox News, it's super conservative. Like I just want normal
act
news.
Like they're conservative,
but they're kind of not. Like I really just want truth. Like where do I actually go for real? I just want to know who killed who's getting money they shouldn't be getting.
Right.
Are we going to go to war with China? What are these things flying in the sky? I want the truth. Where is money being spent?
Also, where are they trying to get you to look so they can do something else?
To hurt us.
Oh no, look at that over there. And over here they're doing something devious.
It's all the time.
You're not watching.
It
happens all the time.
And it's Republican
Really
and Democrat.
hasn't happened too much in the last 40 days.
With that we know of. We know of. And that's another thing is that we have to be aware of that.
Right.
They're doing it with Trump. They're like, what about this? And what about that? Like right now we were watching them vote in RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. And to watch them and watch their, how they can just like vomit their information at the very end and they just go off because they're allowed, they're filibustering, they're filibusters, right?
Yeah.
So they're just kind of like giving you whatever that their opinion is. But listening to them, you're just kind of like, wow, you literally like, I have never heard you say a single positive thing about them. How is that possible? You know what I mean?
That the other side is totally wrong.
Yeah, like at least 25% right, 40% right, 75% right. And then maybe you just disagree on some of these key issues where you really don't want them in because those are the reasons. But they're so against it that you have to wonder why.
Drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp. Get Mo in the house. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it's everywhere. It surrounds us. And it's hard to decipher, but I think that we all have to just really think for ourselves.
Yeah, regardless what political party you're at.
It doesn't matter.
No, it's like...
we're humans. Treat people good.
Like we should not be divided in this. No. Like a lot of it is just common sense. That
it is.
Like, just completely
do you want
lacking.
the children saved? Do you want them found? All of us can agree on that. And you know what I mean? Like, so there are certain things we should be able, don't you want healthy vaccines? If they're going to be vaccines, wouldn't you like to know that they're healthy?
Yeah. And so don't you want choice? Don't we want choice? Yeah. I mean, we're all for choice. Are we, do we want choice on this?
How are we looking away from the fact that I can go to England and be fed completely different, eating the same bag of chips that I can eat here?
Soda
and
pop,
then let's
everything.
look away and then it's mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling.
Like I don't understand any of it. And as far as like the Doge thing goes, like I don't see why people are not like outraged because I keep seeing all these things on what are tax dollars. And I guess if you don't work and maybe like I don't even want it to go there, but I just know that my tax dollars matter. And so I feel nauseous.
Well, when you vote with your money.
Yeah, knowing where my tax dollars are going. They're not helping people like my dad. They're not helping vets. They're not helping our elderly.
They're not even
helping
the
our
roads.
Yeah, it's the worst country on earth. It's unsafe. It's, when political parties are against our police,
It's a problem.
Yeah.
it's such an issue. And for people to turn and say that it's not, it's
When
just
bad guys become good,
Yeah.
and good guys are being looked at as bad,
That's terrible.
it's a problem.
I just saw a sheriff. I want to say, and I don't want to quote it, but I think somewhere down in Southern California, and he got on there and he said, "I'm risking everything, including my job." But something was just one of their workers, an investigator or something, was just found with $5,000 or $500,000 in fentanyl. And he was selling them. He was dealing them. And the judge slapped him on the hand. And I want to say it was like second offense or something, slapped him on the hand. And he was released with time served. As an investigator, this is what he was doing on his side. And that same judge, like 5 years earlier, let another one go, or let another bad guy related to this case go. And he ended up killing a cop. And, how is that okay? Like, if I get pulled over for a ticket, I'm like, no, why can't I I'm going to be like everybody else then? Why should I have to pay this bill? Why should I have to do this? If like the really bad guys aren't being punished, but I have to pay $160 for a ticket.
I feel like you're being targeted.
Like, what is happening? Right? If I have to abide by rules, but really bad guys don't have rules or repercussions, like I think that our country is upside down.
It is.
That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think that you saw that with the way California voted for a lot of things. I think that they realized that things are not going right. We're not happy. We're living in this, and people aren't really happy in it.
Well, what about their minds changing? The military, they came down on them so hard about getting like COVID vaccine. My son was wrapped up in that as a Marine, but you have to get it. They kicked him out like 8 months before his enlistment was up. And now they have to let military back in. And basically they're being found wrong for doing that. But yet everybody was against them. You know what I mean? And now they're like, oh, well,
what about
Dr. Fauci was bad and now it's good.
Look at all the nurses that lost their jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And now they're having to fix it. And it's kind of like, well, if that were a thing, then why, how did you get away with that? How are you not in trouble right now?
I just read this thing this morning, we're so against Elon. We don't want non-government people inside of our government making decisions. And then there was a big giant picture of Fauci.
Right? Who's going to jail, by the way, eventually.
That's what I'm saying. It's so upside down.
It is.
Just so upside down.
And it's going to be painful until they right the wrongs. That transition period is not going to be comfortable for anybody. We have to understand that,
I don't think it's going to be comfortable for the people who need to go to jail.
Yeah.
Oh, especially not them. Yeah.
Because
that needs to happen.
It's going to be bad.
But anyway, so we do have to try to navigate fake news on both sides. I think that we all agree with that. So that's a big thing right there. So fake news. I mean, should we fact check that?
All right. Fact check it here.
Check.
I got your fact check. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So the next thing is fake boobs. We want to talk about some tots or what?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Fake boobs.
Yeah.
I love my fake boobs.
I liked mine too. I would like to get them removed now, but I really like how they brought me some confidence. Never once did I ever try to pull them off as being real. I never tried to argue about it. I know that certain people have certain comments and feelings about it, and I've never tried to force my views on them in any way, shape, or form. I feel like there's a difference in a sense where...
Well, I love my fake boobs because before they were looking like tube socks. There's a time for everything, right? And this wasn't just fake boobs, right? It's more of what we see in people, and more about just being real and the acceptance and judgment that we put on people, and all of that, right? So just the pressures of even being a woman and what we need to look like versus what we see on TV what men see on TV.
What we're being compared against.
I just heard this really sad story when I was having lunch today, and they were talking about a very young mother who happens to be more curvier of a woman, and how her husband makes comments to her on how he wants her to look after birthing a child. And the idea, and how much, one, I know that wounds us, right? Because I've been a big girl my whole entire life. And not just a wound, like they're scars that hurt us. And when we were younger, we just saw what was on TV. Like, we didn't have access to all this stuff. But can you imagine being a young woman being raised up now with social media, our idea of what is real and what we're supposed to look like, right? I'm getting ready to turn 50. What am I supposed to look like?
Right.
Right. It's sometimes like debilitating. Right. We're always changing something. We're never happy. I look at Maddie and she's just so unhappy.
Yeah.
And I try to think, when have you been happy? And why are we having such a hard time accepting ourselves? You know?
I was watching a TikTok and it had this guy, and he was a younger guy in his 30s. And he's like, look I'm with a girl who's almost 20 years older than me, and she looks younger than I do. And I'm looking at the girl and she's beautiful, but she clearly has augmentation and enhancements to her face to a point where you're like, you're blatantly aware of it. And he was like, she just looks so good for a 50-year-old or whatever age she was. And I was just thinking, some girls are looking at that and they don't have the money to go have surgery to their face and have these little pug noses. And you can't do that and then have someone go, oh, you're like compare yourself to someone who isn't natural that way. You know what I mean? Like, instead, like, maybe try to find someone who is kind of along your line. I don't know how to explain it, but just watching it was just so like, what a weird thing to put out there. You just said, in comparison to other women, like, she was better, but she had they lived in Dubai, okay? And you could tell, like, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that were spent on
Fake
her.
boobs.
Yeah, exactly. Fake everything.
Fake everything, right.
Exactly. And it was just kind of like, no, she is beautiful. But that's not a fair statement to be able to say that anybody could look as good or their version of that with that much money invested in surgeries.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not going to, I don't want to shame anybody for any enhancements that they do. You know, I do fillers here because I have really bad marionettes that run in my family, and I'm not ready to age like that yet. Right. So I'd like to preserve.
And I dye my hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not much difference, and we shouldn't be judging each other, but we shouldn't be comparing either.
Right.
You know?
And I think everybody's situation's different. I think how they feel about themselves is different, how they view themselves, how others view them.
Right.
And I don't think this is obviously just not a woman thing. I think it's become a woman thing, but men have all of these same feelings that we have. They're balding, they're getting fat, they're not as strong as they used to be. Maybe something ain't working quite right.
Certain things are sagging.
Yeah. So they feel like that too. And I think that they're not really allowed to talk about that. It's not like safe for a man to really talk about that.
Right.
And so these are all normal things. And sometimes we fill it with fakeness, right? Our makeup that we put on every day is fake.
Yeah.
It's fake. Like, I don't look as good without makeup. That's reality.
I put brightener underneath my eyes.
So, that's reality. What we wear, what we clothe ourselves in. The purses that ladies adorn themselves with.
Your nails.
Yeah. The way men get their hair cut, the type of beard that they have, the way that they shave their beard. Everyone does things like that. So I don't see those things as fake.
Right.
I see those things as enhancing your look, which is fine. Fakeness to me is very different because it's a root issue. So when you see people with excessive amounts of plastic surgery, I believe it's not about their looks. I believe it's about missing something inside, a confidence, a self-worth. They want to hide from what that was. I don't believe it's just about their looks.
Or even a comparison that they've been brought up, like they feel intimidated by, you know what I mean, to make themselves do that. And in a sense where again, we should not be comparing. It's what makes you feel like, what do you do? You know what I mean? When to make yourself feel more like a woman, is you wearing lingerie with your bra and your boobs pushed up? Well, that's not exactly quote unquote real. You know what I mean? But
it's an enhancement.
It is. And it's okay. It's
okay.
It's okay.
And then I think some of it depends on the culture that they're around. So like movie stars, people who are on screen all the time, they're going to get more work done because they're in the limelight all the time.
Right.
Their teeth are going to be super fake looking and their hair is going to be super worked on and they're going to have plugs if they're men.
Right.
They're going to have veneers.
It's part of their profession. And so we all understand that as well. But like when you look at people like, let's use Michael Jackson as an example. He was the cutest boy. Like he was a cute teenager. Like he was a good looking boy. And, you know, look at all that he did to himself. And you have to wonder, is that a root thing? Because he was a very handsome boy, very handsome man. And, you know, why did he do that to himself? Why did he feel the need to do those things? There's a lot of stars that you look at that I thought looked beautiful.
Channing Tatum. I just saw him in a movie. My goodness. I know he was young when he came out and all that kind of stuff, but he would have aged gracefully. I just saw him in a movie and I was like, what is wrong? What happened? But his teeth, it was because he had veneers. And I just was so floored that whatever it was he did, he took like almost a character out of himself to look like a
There's
stamp.
so much pressure there.
There is.
I think that there's just, and it's for men and women, same
That's
thing.
why I brought him up.
And I just think it's so, the media, social media, TV, movies, it puts a lot of pressure on not just us as the society, but the people that are performing for this society, even more so. And they're on display for us. And they're the example. This one gets a butt lift. Now all the girls want to get a butt lift. This one does liposuction. Everybody wants to do liposuction. So, you know, I think that when we're talking about fake boobs, really what we're saying is, are you doing it as an enhancement for you to make you, you know, just kind of notch it up a little bit like a great hairdo? Or are you doing it to cover something else?
Or because you're like we were talking about, or because you feel something missing, so you feel like you have to compete with to hold a certain standard. When in reality, there's a level of natural and beauty that everybody has that they should be embracing. Enhancement is one thing.
Yeah,
painting your nails, like putting on eye makeup.
And I think
I don't know if we live in a culture where we embrace natural
and competing too.
I was going to say the same.
It's competition. It's pettiness.
That's the key word. That's the key word. Compete.
Yeah.
And we see it with women. We see it with men. We're always in competition to be better, and that's where I think we go right into fake friends.
Yeah. Speaking of which
is the heart of this episode.
Grief.
What do you think like the definition of a fake friend?
I would have to say someone that does, when you're not sitting at the table, they're not protecting your name.
I love that.
You should always be able to know that regardless where they are, if your name were to be brought up, they've got your back 100%, even if it's uncomfortable. They don't have to be rude about it or anything, or maybe get a little bit rude about it. I don't know. But my point is you just know that your friend is always got you. You know what I mean? It's never to benefit themselves. It's a loyalty that's very difficult to find.
And if they have beef, that beef is with you, not with the whole rest of the world.
No, they'll talk about it later with you.
And then never talk to you about it. Tell you everything's fine and do nothing but talk shit about you.
Well, that's biblical. You're never supposed to be that kind of friend where you're like, oh no, everything's good. And then you don't try to like gently correct your sister. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're supposed to do is support the good. What about you, sister?
I agree. I agree. I think that a fake friend is somebody that can't be trusted with your name coming out of their mouth.
In which case, just don't put my name in your mouth at all. You know what I mean? Like it should never be
don't
there.
Don't pretend to be my friend.
Either of those things. Just leave me alone at that point. You know what I mean?
Like somebody who wants to be your friend if it benefits them. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think the social media makes friendships faker or more authentic?
Faker.
I think so too.
Is faker a word?
Faker.
It's a word now.
Faker. It is.
Okay.
You're such a faker.
What makes a real friend?
A real friend, somebody who's always in your corner, believes in you, support you mentally, physically, emotionally. That when the shit's going to hit the fan, they're going to be there. That when you're not present, they're glorifying your name, not putting you in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't make excuses for you, but they don't put you down.
Right. They pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
They lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
They're loyal. And I think that more than anything, that when they're having thoughts about you, those thoughts are good.
Yes.
You never have to wonder, like, what did she mean by that? You know,
because she tells you.
She's not afraid to tell you the truth.
A real friend tells you the truth. Like, they also give you a safe space to have your truth.
Right.
And not feel judged by each other.
I think one of the biggest gifts in probably the 35 years that we've been friends is that Monica does an excellent job of giving it to me for real.
Jenna's the same way with me in the most gentle, beautiful way, but she's you're like, maybe not gentle and beautiful.
Am I gentle?
She said, oh my gosh. Come here. But really, she, somebody that can give it to you real, even when it hurts them to say it, even when it's not the easiest thing to say to somebody that you love, that they love you so much that they have to say it to you.
Because it's not always comfortable being a friend.
Right. No.
You know what I mean?
And she's seen me through the worst of my life, through good parts of my life, through everything, through, I don't even know how old we were.
Young.
Yeah. 17.
Yeah.
And you were
young.
15, 14.
Yeah. I was 15.
Yeah, 15.
Wow, that's a long time.
So there's been so much for both of us to see and so much growth. Between our friendship.
Yeah.
But she has always shot it to me. Whether I liked it or not, she has given it to me.
Vice versa, though.
Yeah.
She's always been like, she's a much nicer version of telling me. But she tells me straight up, like I had a conversation with her about me and Bob at one point just recently. And she like gave it to me. Like she had no problem and she didn't hold back at all. She's like, well, actually. And then she like spun it to me.
She did the same thing with me. I've come to her with some relationship questions and been completely out of control, emotional about it and didn't know what to do or whatnot. And she supported me and she loved me through it, but was also truthful about it of what may need to happen, regardless if it felt comfortable for me to do it or not. And I feel like that's what friends should do. 100%. You know what I mean?
You're not going to grow if we don't help each other.
Don't just tell me that he's the problem.
No, that's the worst friend.
Seriously, please be honest with me.
The worst friend tells you that your man is just a complete piece of shit and you're amazing.
Seriously.
And that you are the most amazing creature in the world.
Yeah.
That is a lying sack of crap if she's doing that. And anyone that's trying to destroy your relationship is a lying sack of crap.
Yeah.
And obviously we want what's best for our girlfriends and our friends and our family without a doubt.
If she's in a dangerous situation, it's something very different,
exactly.
right? But
I'm just talking about a normal relationship. And sometimes you're just not supposed to be with each other, but sometimes you are supposed to be together for a certain time period. And we don't need girlfriends breaking that apart and doing that. You should be coming to your own decision on that. And I think it makes it dangerous. And I think the fake friends for sure do that. And they try to pull you away from significant others and they manipulate you in that sense. And so that's part of the fake friend
This is kind of a slippery slope. But when I changed my mind about how I was living my life, lack of a better way, when Jesus pulled me out of the mud, and seriously, that's part of my testimony, when I didn't want to drink anymore and I didn't want to live that lifestyle and be so self-destructive that way, the amount of friends that I lost was staggering.
Yeah.
It was staggering. Like
misery loves company.
98%. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Well, who I thought were my friends weren't. They just tried to suck me back in and I was not strong enough to be able to say no. So I had to cut it. And like I said, this is a slippery slope because, people will be listening to this or whatnot, but we all have a testimony.
Yes.
And if I had to be truthful, it wasn't just about one friend. It was a massive amount of people that I was hanging out with that were pulling me that direction. And I realized like, holy cow, they really don't care whether or not I am okay in a sense, as long as I'm with them doing the same thing. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds terrible.
It's true though.
It was my fault too. And I'm not saying I was a different
Isn't
friend
there
at the
a
time.
saying though? There's
Misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
My mom would tell me that all the time when I was a kid, hanging out with dirtbags.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
They do. And you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Word.
And if I kept doing that, I knew that I was never going to get out of it. And so snip, snip. I mean, you have to. And it was incredibly painful.
Yes.
It felt like a breakup. It felt like it was a whole life change. So it's like, what the heck? What do I do now? Now I'm a total, you feel like a loser kind of, when really you're actually kind of stepping away from a lifestyle that was that definition.
Do you believe that people come into your life for seasons, right?
Yes.
So we don't have to hold on to all of our friends, right? They're there for a season and then, you know.
They're lessons.
Well, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes you heal each other in those periods of time.
Sure.
Sometimes they teach you new things. You teach them new things. You're meant to have that friendship and even relationships. Mm-hmm. It's a season. Like I don't regret almost any of my past relationships
or friendships, really.
Yeah, because my thing is, I learned, I loved, I got hurt. They got hurt, maybe.
Exactly.
But I think it was all meant to be. Mm-hmm. And you know, I know I've referenced before, but the way home, you know, like the bond takes you where you need to go. But I think that God takes us where we need to go. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's why I never look back at things with regret and, oh, I wish I hadn't done that or this. It's like, no, like I lived the life I was supposed to live.
Right. And again, I made those same mistakes also that I'm talking about they made with me. And so therefore it's just kind of one of those, you love deeply, you know, in those moments where there's a relationship with a male or a female best friend. But in the end, it you're hoping that you'll elevate somewhere else, like somewhere bigger, and instead of,
and it's okay just not
staying.
to be friends with somebody anymore. I think that
Definitely.
It's like, oh, well, you have to be friends for the next 35 years with certain people. Like,
no,
that's not normal. I mean, they, you know, sometimes you're in a mom group when you're young and you become friends with a couple girls and then they go on.
Moms.
Yeah. You know, and I got football moms, like you have different things and that's okay. It was a season. Now they do their things and you do your things and you're still nice to each other. You give a shout out on Facebook once in a while, but it's not the same relationship and that's okay. But it's when people get dirty and really fake.
Gonna say there are no hard feelings. However,
there
some
are people
who
somehow feel jaded by that and feel like they're owed something.
So do you think just like in relationships, right? We talk about red flags. Do you think there's red flags in friendships?
Yes.
I think women have the worst red flags.
What should we look for?
Love bomb.
Right.
That is a major red flag in any relationship.
Relationships and friendships.
Same
right?
thing though. Same thing. Friendships and relationships are the same when it comes to this. People who love bomb you are dangerous. Be careful. Red flag, red flag.
Right. People who try to, you know how you fall in love with a friend for the reason who they are, but then you watch them change as they're with different friends. Like they're just.
Ooh, that's another one. The gecko.
Yeah.
Watch
the
out for the
chameleon.
gecko.
It's the chameleon.
Chameleon, yeah.
And it's, and that's not to say the people that can just be a different person in different groups of friends, because I mean, that's
all of us
also a
do
good
that.
thing.
Yeah.
But,
all of us kind of do that.
But when you're forsaking your own values
And
in
it's
order,
different.
yes.
If you're all of a sudden a non-Christian with this one, a Christian with this one, a Republican with this one, a liberal with this one.
Right.
You know, because you see that.
Yeah.
Where they're just relators. They just agree with what they're fair weather. So, you know, that's an issue too.
Wishy-washy.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody needs any wishy-washy friends.
No.
So what are you looking for in a friendship these days then? Like, I mean, at the
I'm
age
not
that
looking
we
for
are.
any new friends.
Me either. I was just thinking the same.
My friend's basket is full.
It's very full. I don't have a lot of time to dedicate towards friendship. I feel like I never have, which makes me a really bad friend, in my opinion.
It makes you a great friend to a small amount of people.
Very small amount.
Yeah.
And, you know, like anything, I definitely like quality over quantity. And, you know, we've talked about that before in a million things, that we're happy having less of certain things. And it's just really good. And I think friendships and relationships are one of them. I don't need 1,000 friends. I just need 5 solid people.
Quantity, not quality. No, quality. Quality, not quantity. God, sometimes I
spread-
should like say it in my head first. It's like it just comes right out.
You and me both, girl.
Oh my Lord.
But some of us, we will end up spreading ourselves too thin among those friends if you have too
Yes.
many, and you can't really give that quality to your friend, good friends.
And it's like, like we've talked about energy before. We only have so much energy to give on the daily, on the weekly, on the whatever. And, our children and our husbands take up a lot of that. Our work takes up a certain amount of it. We have friends and that takes up a certain amount. And if I have 100 friends that I'm trying to keep everyone happy and they're trying to keep me happy, it's a lot.
How
There's
much
a lot
sleep
going
are
on.
you getting?
And I want a really good relationship. I want to feel
solid.
like it's solid. Like if we don't see each other for a month, we still truly
I don't
want
want to hear about it. I want us to pretend like we just pick up where we left off.
Because we
it's
have,
like, I
should be a
can't.
check-in. Like, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
That's it.
I have a really good friend. Her name is Tori, and she's my other best friend. And we never see each other. But man, like that girl is in a sense, like my ride or die, where if I ever needed to bury a body, she's the girl I'm calling. She just has my back 100%. And I just love her for that reason. And she'll always call herself a shitty friend. Oh, excuse me, a bad friend, because that's what her words are, though. Is she curses a lot, and I love
like
that
Mo.
about her.
She's like Mo.
She's so real. But she'll be like, I'm so sorry. I'm such a crappy friend or whatever. And I'm like, are you joking? Like, I know you're there.
I have other friends like that too. Like I have Sherry Hernandez is definitely somebody that I know if my back's against this wall and if her back's against the wall, I'm going to be there for her.
Heck yeah.
But we don't talk on the daily. We don't talk on the monthly even. But she's another one that I would say is like a solid, close, best type friend. Like I really love her and I respect her as a woman, as a mom. And I have a couple others like that I put in that category. But yet it's just a different type of relationship. My relationship with Gina is more of a sister relationship. It's a little bit deeper than just a regular friendship. She's like my sister. And she's my older sister.
She's kind of like my sister too.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
She actually is your sister.
my sister.
Yeah. So it's
Okay,
a
little
different.
silly little questions
Okay.
about
let's go.
friendship. Ready? Have you ever lied to avoid plans with somebody?
Yes.
I'll be honest about it.
Might have done it a lot. Guilty as charged.
I'm not feeling very good. I'm
Guilty as
just
charged.
kidding.
Who's the friend most likely to drop everything
Gina.
to help you?
Drop everything to help me. Oh gosh, that's a tough one. Greg,
Wow. Your man.
very much. He let me sleep for like 12 hours today.
Bob will be like,
What
yeah,
a
I gotta go to Falcons. I got a couple errands to run. Jeremiah wants me to check on this. Like, okay, so I'll be last on the list. I got it.
What about you, sister?
Give us one.
That's all I had.
What? No, you got to give us another one.
That is literally all I had on here.
Make up one.
You make up
You
one.
make up one.
You
Izzy,
do
you
it.
make up
Do
one.
it. What
Okay.
does authenticity actually mean to you? And so,
Stumper.
who's someone who's very authentic? Like, do you?
Okay, so that's a really good question because most people are not.
Sure.
So give me a second. That's like a stumper. I love it. Who is really authentic?
Super
My
faithful.
mother-in-law, Joyce, was the most authentic person. She didn't give a crap who she offended. She was going to say what she felt. She was always the same, steady as a rock. Authentic, Mama Joyce.
What about you, Miss Gina?
That is the generation,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
I'm around bullshitters. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I can't tell the truth from a lie anymore.
It all goes together.
Bullshit.
What about you, Andy?
Authenticity. It's Tori. Tori doesn't care. Man,
She says it the way it is.
Well, and she's beautiful and sweet and in her own way. Like she's gonna be like, in my own way. Thanks, Andy, but it's the truth. Because you know what it was when she met me. She's like,
Is
I
Tori
tried.
the farter friend?
No.
Oh, okay, that's a different friend. Okay.
No. Tori is
Trying to put them together.
Right. She is. She's like, I tried to hate you because she doesn't like a lot of friends either. So she's like, I tried not to like you in the beginning, but dang it, I ended up loving you. Like it was. She's very authentic in a way where she'll always tell me the truth, whether I want to hear it or not. She's great. And in big, bad times where I've had questions about certain subjects, she was not afraid to kind of have that hard talk with me, while our kids were being raised. And our boys played football together and when they were little. And she saw me go through some stuff and she would be like, like, what, girl, about this. We need to talk about it.
We need to talk. So do you think that like being real with each other is part of how you keep those long-term relationships? Or what do you think is like the key component to long relationships with friends and obviously your significant others?
I think that you have to value it enough to make it a priority.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think friendships are like anything else, or like your marriages or your relationships. You have to keep it going. You have to keep that fire.
Yeah.
100%. In any relationship. My 100%. Mother was so good at that.
The best.
She was.
The best.
It was her favorite thing to do was schedule lunch dates.
She loved it. And she was so good at it. You'd get flowers. Yeah. She never missed a birthday, a Christmas. Yeah. And she made you feel special.
100%. And I think it's important to, again, our garden grows where we water it, right? If we're not watering our garden, it's not going to bloom. It's not going to bear fruit, right? So if you're watering, then it's going to grow and it's going to be beautiful. But 100%. If you don't, it's not going to. So
I think it's not a take situation. And I think that's where my friends were back in the day, where it was like a take thing. It's a give thing. So like the more you give it, the more, and you kind of give it to each other, right? Like you invest the investment in
an investment
in each
of
other.
Time and energy and our hearts and our love. Yeah.
When one is weak, the other one's strong.
And vice versa.
Yeah. And sometimes you're weak together. Sometimes you're strong together. But the key word, together.
Together. Yeah. Good one.
So sisterhood. Can we talk about that for a second?
Of course.
So when friendships feel like family, what does that kind of mean to you guys?
To me, it means like there's friends can be family, and but once they hit that level, it just means that like as I'm thinking about Greg or my mom or my kids and things like that, their presence, their name also comes into my mind, whether I'm praying for them. I even pray about people that definitely aren't my friends. But my point is that like you just you make room for them to be in that circle that means the most to you.
What you just said just triggered a memory for me. I have to share it.
What?
So there was a lady that worked for me for a while, and she's a unbelievably nice lady. And she used to have a prayer jar for people that she didn't like.
Yeah.
And she would pull their name out. She'd pull a name out and pray for them that day. And I thought that was so freaking smart. And it shows what a beautiful heart she has. So like somebody did something wrong to her, she put their name in the prayer jar and then she'd pray for them. Right. And one time she teased me that I was in the prayer jar. And I was like, damn.
She's like, I cannot wait to pick out your name.
I was like, damn, sure, Mary, I made it into the prayer jar.
I'm going to pray all day for you, girl.
I probably had 2 or 3 in there.
Jesus loves you.
No, but I thought
God bless you.
God bless you, girl. But I really liked that when she said that because I thought, man, I should be praying for people that do wrong by me instead of spewing their hate back at them.
That's 100%
And that's something I'm not good at.
That hurt my heart right now.
Right?
It is. It's a very Christian thing to do. Right?
It's just a wonderful thing to do.
Well, I everybody knows kind of what's going on with my boys a little bit and stuff like that. And what do you do when you're so angry at somebody that's involved in that isn't the boys, but they're involved in that, and you feel like so much of it rides on them. And I remember thinking, I cannot stand them. Like I told Greg, it's so hard for me not to say I hate them. You know what I mean? And in reality, one of the things I read was, then that's where you should be putting your prayer, because pray that they go to church, pray that God,
they get right.
In a sense where they may write themselves enough to have a bigger, better influence on the situation. You may never get along, but that's not what it's about. It's about like the situation and their lives being better also, because in turn it's going to bleed over onto others. And it just made so much sense when you said that about the prayer jar. It's the same kind of concept.
It's true. It's like how like we're getting deep, girls. This is good because those fake friends, and once you've parted ways with them, it doesn't mean that you have to be friends with them continuously, but you should still pray for them.
Oh yeah.
Because
no hard
they were
feelings that way.
important in your life at a certain point.
Yeah.
And whatever happened, whether it's your fault, their fault, a mixture of the two, outside sources, whatever it is, we should still be praying for them and wishing nothing but the best for them. But it's hard because when we're initially hurt by those people, those fake friends, we want to like beat the crap out of them. We hate them.
Well, we let emotions get involved.
How could they do this to me? This is terrible. I've been nothing but good to them. I gave them all my love, all my trust, and then they stabbed me in the back. So after we have that time of mourning and anger, which you're entitled to have, I think we put them in the prayer jar. It makes them better and us better.
Yeah. It's because in the end, I mean, if you think about like, forget this life and this earth and things like that, in the end, there are people that are going to go on and for a life of eternity and people that aren't. And all you can do at that point is pray for them. You know what I mean? And if you got to kind of remove emotion out of it because feelings are just feelings. That's all they are. That's not exactly really what matters. Just because you have feelings about something, you're allowed
100%.
to like recognize them, but then you got to move past them. You got to lay it at the
100%.
cross and move on because we don't have
100% agree.
time for this, you know?
Yeah. And it just pulls you down and makes you miserable.
It does.
And when I think about like great women who pray for people, and it's not a gift that I have. And, you know, I just have so much respect for that. But like, it's just funny how organically like this came up in this. Cause like, you know, I never thought about it like this until you said what you said. And it's true. Like we need to just pray for these fake friends.
100%.
And these people that hurt us.
Because we all grow and they could just grow to move on to be a better friend to someone else. You know what I mean? And so it's not really about our relationship was. You know what I mean?
Maybe they don't even know they were a fake friend.
No, 100% most of the time they don't.
Because we're our own advocate, right? So we always think that we're
right.
in the right,
We're right.
And
They're
our
wrong.
version of our story is our version
And
of
I'm
our
sure
story.
I was a fake friend to some people, you know?
And sometimes we're the fake friend.
Totally.
And, you know, I think that, wow, I mean, what a turn on this freaking podcast right now.
Right?
Like, we're like getting ready to talk shit about fake friends. I need to pray for them, for us, for the whole thing.
You know, we are so imperfectly perfect.
We are.
And so when I was thinking about like the fake news, the fake boobs, the fake friends, right? I thought to myself, and I know that I think that we've done an episode on this, right? Is love languages.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So just as we think love languages in our own relationships, we should have love languages in our friendships.
Yes.
And it just reminds
That's a
me
good
of
one.
my pouty Sunday calling you and lashing out, right?
I should know your love language.
So I Googled what it would look like. I swear, I Googled what it would look like if there was a book on friendship love languages and what they would look like, right? And why we need language in friendships, right?
That's such a good one, sister.
Why do we put so much emphasis on romantic relationships, but we neglect the deeply nurtured relationships between friendships, between women, right? And our bond. The love language goes beyond romance into platonic bonds.
Yeah.
Right. So 5 love languages for friendships.
Do it.
Oh, I love it. Let's do this. Yay.
Acts of support.
Okay.
Helping your friend move. Being there when they're stressed or cheering them on in an event.
Yes.
Okay. So acts of support, which in relationships would be acts of service, right?
Right.
So just being supportive of your partner or not your partner, of your
friend.
Your friend
right?
partner.
Yeah. Your friend life partner.
Yes, your friend life partner. Words of affirmation. So in friendships, we need encouragement too. So compliments, encouragements, simple check-ins. I'm proud of you. You've done a good job. You mean so much. Our relationship, our friendship means so much.
Verbalizing it.
Verbalizing it. Quality time. So
This is Gina's love language. This is her friendship platonic.
Is she trying to say something to you right now?
Yeah, she gets really mad at me. Her and Bob both. They're like the same on this. I'm telling you right now.
spending time together, whether it's in deep conversation, just coffee or running errands together, right? Side by side, just spending time. Okay. And number 4, thoughtful gestures. So sending cards, sending things when they're down, care packages, remembering their birthday, grabbing their favorite coffee on the way somewhere, right? So those would be like what? Gifts in love languages. And then physical connection, believe it or not.
Touch them. I'm just kidding.
What the hell? We're not going to have that kind of friendship. I'm telling you right now.
Whoa.
So appropriate physical touch would be like hugs, pat on the back, high fives, right?
Knuckles.
Fist pumps, secret handshakes, right? So, and then how to identify your friendship love language, which we all know what mine is. But Monica, what is yours?
Yeah, what is yours?
It's just like, leave me alone.
Is that a love language?
No. I mean, my love language for love languages is acts of service. So I would say it was the first one. What was that again? It's basically like acts of service, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
acts of service.
Yeah. So that's
help me.
So when I'm drowning, I need please throw me a rope because I will not tell you I'm drowning.
Nope.
I think mine is, I'm trying to think about because each of those is really good. And you kind of got to differentiate like what you're kind of good at as a friend and what you need as a friend. And so
that's actually great. That's a great point.
Because I almost answered one, and I honestly, that's not what I need back. I think I'm just decent at doing that. Like bringing you like a random coffee or like a bottle of wine or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of sort of, but I guess it just sort of depends on what that friend needs. But for myself, I want to laugh together.
Mm-hmm.
I want to cry together. I want to whether it's on the phone or whether we're in person, but just as long as there's happiness there in the end, you know what I mean? And we're laughing together. I think that's one of the best things when you kind of get lost in that. You just crack up and you go home and your face hurts and your sides hurt. And you just know that you kind of were able to kind of get away from the things that were bogging you down at that moment. And your friend lifted you back up.
Exactly.
All right, tribe, that's a wrap. In a world full of filters, facades, and fakeness, stay real, stay rooted, and always trust your gut. Whether it's fake news, fake friends, or even a little extra enhancement, just make sure you're staying true to yourself. Keep your circle solid, your mind sharp, and your heart open to what's real. Until next time, this is Mighty Mo. Feel blessed, be blessed.